We are here with a very special guest today. Stephanie is here with us, and she is going to talk a little bit about wildlife rehabilitation.
So personally, I'm a wildlife rehabilitator, a certified wildlife rehabilitator. So we take in, I work for Mississippi Wildlife Rehabilitation. We take in orphaned and injured birds and reptiles. I went to an event and just started by asking if I could volunteer. I didn't really know much at the time, so that is how I started. I went through an apprenticeship program and learned on the job. And I was just a volunteer for several years before I became the wildlife director.
How many different areas right here in the state of Mississippi? How many do we have? A lot of different offices? Like, how is y'all's department set up?
So we're a small nonprofit. We network with other rehabilitators to help get birds in for care, but we have a small wildlife hospital at Arkabutla Dam that we kind of partner with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers.
Okay.
They let us use it for free, which is great. And then everything else we're all volunteer based, trying to network to get birds into care, for transport, for help with volunteer, for events to be able to raise the money to pay for their care.
Right. And how do y'all typically get called in? Like law enforcement or wildlife will call you guys when they find an animal? How does it work?
Law enforcement, like people will call and look around, they'll get our number. I man the hotline, and so I talk to people at all hours of the day or night. Sometimes they just Googled us and they're like, I found your number online. I'm someplace in Mississippi, and I'm either trying to help them find their nearest rehabber or talking about how they can help get it to me. Because we're so small and volunteer based, we rely a lot on the general public to help get the patients to us.
To you. Okay, so if somebody does find an injured animal, how can they get in touch with you guys up here?
So for us, we have our hotline number, and if they call it, it goes straight to me. You can also email, but really the best way is to just call or text the hotline number, either way, and we will figure out. I can, coach them through how to maybe contain the bird, because there's a lot of times people are like, it's a big hawk, what am I supposed to do?
Right.
And I can walk them through how to safely contain it, to then help with transport, or to then reach out to our network of volunteers and see who can help, meet and get this bird into care.
Because a hawk can tear you up if you don't know students.
If you don't know what you're doing.
Absolutely. Okay, now many people have probably not been able to pay attention much on this because you have a guest here. So why don't you tell us who we have right here?
So this is Hazelnut. He is an eastern screech owl. He actually came in. He was a call that I got last summer. Some kids were, found this screech owl in a hole, and they were trying to feed it, and their mom eventually figured out what they were doing. And if you notice, one of his eyes, it's not fully developed. He has gone to specialists. It's a birth defect that does not bother him, but he can't see. So because of that, he's unreleasable. He was also socialized by these kids at a very young age.
Really?
So he doesn't really act as wild as a screech owl. They're usually a lot feistier. So while our goal is always to take them in and rehabilitate to release, occasionally they're not releasable. This one would not survive long in the wild. And so because he was a good candidate, we were able to put him on our permit for education and to bring him, out, because it's a fun way to learn.
Now tell us about him as his species. Y'all said that he is fully grown, even though he is really, really small. Yeah,
so he is a full-grown screech owl. This is as big as he's gonna get. We get a lot of calls about baby great horned owls. 99% of the time, it is a full-grown screech owl. He's still got the little ear tufts. They're our smallest common owl in Mississippi. We have a lot around. They're nocturnal and people don't see them, but they do get hit by cars a lot. That's kind of the most common reason they come into care.
Got you. All right, and tell us about the owl, the species itself. They can turn their necks like a crazy amount.
Yeah, so owls can turn their heads 270 degrees. It's about 3/4 of the way around, not all the way around. Their head would fall off. And that is because they have twice as many vertebrae in their neck as we do. And it's an adaptation they have because they cannot move their eyes. They're like fixed in their skulls. They have very, very large eyes. It's very common for them to come in with eye trauma from being hit. It takes up a lot of their brain space.
Right. If students are interested in this as a possible career, not just volunteering, tell us a little bit about how you made this a career.
Okay, for me personally, I started with volunteer work, and then there are internship programs. Most of them are unpaid. If you do want to be a better candidate for a paid position, majoring in biology or animal science, ecology, these majors can really help make you stand out. There are some centers that hire positions for wildlife rehabilitators out there. It's not a very high-paying job because most centers are all nonprofits and there's no state or federal funding.
Right.